EU citizens who have been living in the UK will or have to apply for status, either settled status or pre-settled status. You would have to apply for settled status if you as an EU citizen have been living here continuously for 5 years. But if you are an EU citizen who has been living in the UK for less than 5 years, then you apply for what we call pre-settled status. Settled status means that you have the permanent right to reside in the UK during the transition period. And that's even if you're no longer a qualified person or a family member of a qualified person. Pre-settled status means that you have the temporary right to stay in the UK for a period of 5 years up to the transition period. A pre-settled status means that you have a right to stay in the UK for 5 years after the transition period. And then once you've lived in the UK for 5 years, then you will be eligible to apply for what we call settled status. Well, the government have actually introduced a process for that, and there is an application which you can either make online or even by mobile phone or on a paper application. And in order to make such an application, you obviously would have to have your passport, your identification documents such as a passport or citizenship card. You would also have to have evidence of your continuous residence in the UK. And you would also have to show that you're not an unsuitable person. What does that mean? Well, an unsuitable person could be somebody who's had a previous conviction of some kind, or maybe they've fraudulently made an application to stay here, or they've concealed some material fact. And if you're an unsuitable person, obviously then you stand the chance of not being able to obtain settled status here as an EU citizen. If you're refused your application for settled status or pre-settled status, then you would have a right of appeal. And the right of appeal would be exercisable here in this country before the first tier tribunal in the Immigration and Asylum Chamber. So that's a gist of what the position is in relation to EU citizens who are currently living in the UK.